Oh, you know what that time is? It's that time, Jen. It's time for Real Weird
Oh.
Sickos.
Yeah.
We're gonna get real. We're gonna be weird. We're gonna be sick. It's that time again. And with us is one of the realest, sickest, weirdest dudes I've ever met. He always tells the weirdest stories. It's Oki.
Oki's Weird Stories. Hello. Thank you for
Aha,
inviting
that's
me.
you.
Welcome back, Oki.
Thank you. I'm
A
so thrilled to be
return
back.
guest. The return of the king.
Yes. The Return to the King actually happened about 3 weeks ago with his new documentary, which is probably like my favorite one so far, The King of Stolen Valor. And it's just, you know what? Where do you find these things, Oki? Like where?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to expose myself. Actually, that was recommended to me.
Oh.
I'm not all like that's I mean, it worked out that way, and it went out. It ended up being really great, honestly. And I got to meet. So the whole thing is about Jack Idema, this guy who went to Afghanistan. He was 45 at the time, and he decided that he's gonna hunt down Osama bin Laden. He's gonna collect a bounty on him. At the time, it was like a $25 million bounty on Osama bin Laden's head. And Jack, he said that he was working on intelligence assets, like Al Qaeda members that he flipped, and he had all of these things that were pointing towards Osama bin Laden. And in fact, he said that he almost caught Osama bin Laden like 5 times. But
guys, I totally almost got him, guys. Like
I came close to catch him once,
so close,
but never 5 times.
Honestly, it's exactly like that. He's full of smoke, and it's complete bullshit. And this guy's whole life ambition was to make like a movie about how much of a badass he is. And
so, did he want to play himself like Audie Murphy? Was that the goal?
I think if he was given the opportunity to play himself, he absolutely would
Did you know that
done that.
He lived in a set, basically. Like he built that, like the house that he built,
the Bat Cave.
The fucking Bat Cave.
Listen, if I had the time and the energy, I would make this entire room I'm in right now. It would look like the 1966 Batman Bat Cave. That would be the goal. Everything in here, just all Batman. 66 Batman.
The difference between you and Jack Idema is you wouldn't be like torturing Afghans that you said were terrorists in order to make you glorify yourself even more.
No, I would be torturing the Joker, and I would be torturing there's all sorts of weird characters on there, like Egghead.
Yeah,
he's gonna find dudes in like fucking like mascot suits and just like kidnap them.
I've actually turned my dad into an Oki's Weird Stories fan.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Now that he saw your space infiltration documentary, and then I showed him King of Stolen Valor, I think like a week and a half ago, and he was just like, he's like, this guy can actually like tell the stories.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
He goes, I don't get bored, and he goes, because sometimes I'll try to show him friends of mine's videos. And I'm not saying he's just, he's an old guy. He's a boomer, but he'll sit there and he's like, why the, and he goes, this is better than the shit that's on Netflix right now. Like, seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Oki is the real deal when it comes to doing these documentaries. Because it's not just like I'm reading a Wikipedia thing like some other guys will tell you, like, what happened when this thing went broke? Or, let me tell you about the rise and fall of all this garbage. And it's just reading a Wikipedia article. Like, who cares about that?
Wikitubia.
Oki's going out and actually pounding the pavement, talking to people, like going through weird files, putting together these stories and creating a narrative for a video.
He's putting everything that he's got into this.
Mm-hmm.
He will miss events. He will.
And Oki himself is a fun guy. My favorite Oki video, I believe he's taken it down. It was just Oki playing with knives. He knew it before I even said it. Where Oki's got all these like samurai swords and ninja swords, and I think he had ninja stars.
He has a little bit in the documentary, like there is those.
Yeah, we get just a taste of who Oki is, but I feel like that we need that taste to get Oki over where people understand. Oh yes, this is Oki's weird story. This isn't. Nobody else could tell this story the same way Oki could. Michael Moore always puts himself in documentaries. And he's playing a character of this aw shucks, like I'm just the everyman. I'm telling the truth. But Oki walks around 24/7 as Oki. Like he's always Oki.
I gotta say, I actually didn't know that I fucked with Michael Moore stuff until like I started rewatching some of it like very recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's shit is good.
Yeah.
Like even going back to like his earliest stuff, that the whole like
Roger and Maze.
Yeah, the
that kind of
Flint,
stuff.
Michigan,
Pets pets are meat.
Yeah, with the lady with the
pets
the
are
rabbits.
meat lady's so crazy.
Yeah, no, but like I mean, she was so like if
Genuine.
people don't know what like we're talking about, this is Michael Moore's first documentary, Roger and Me, and he interviews this lady who is collecting rabbits, just like and she lives in Flint, Michigan, and because of the GM factory going down, like 30% of that that city's population lost a job. So like just complete economic meltdown. And he meets this lady there who's pretty much farming rabbits and selling them. And she's so gleefully and just naturally talking about killing the rabbits and raising them and eating them.
I mean, that's how farm people are. Like it's not really. And the sign says in big bold letters, you can use them for pets or for meat. And it's like, ugh. Like, what a grisly. I mean, it's reality though.
Yeah, how else are you supposed to confront like those so a farmer, for example, confronts the reality that they're killing like an animal every day in order to supply food for the world and supply food for themselves. And I think that the unease that I personally felt when I was watching that is like this lady is doing that. She's so open about it, and like of course she is. Like she's confronted with the reality all the time. She raises these rabbits, and she kills them, and she eats them, and some of them she keeps as a pet, and like she.
I got an uncle Oki. He likes to raise hogs from now and like every 5 years he'll just decide I'm gonna raise my own hogs. And went over there one time and he's got one like strung up draining. And he's talking to me. And we just opens up the door. It's like, yeah, I got the hog hanging up, draining the blood out. It's like, oh my god, that's so gross. You ever seen something like that? Because they have to they split it open and soak the blood out, Jen.
I have a friend who hunts like goats, like mountain goats or whatever, like with a bow and arrow and shit. Like
I've never heard of goat hunting before. I mean, I've heard of
but it's the mountain ones, so
deers
it's just
and
kind of
like so they can go
now you have to be
careful.
You have to be careful when you go to like barbecues and shit at his house because you're going to have to ask what meat is which. Like if this is like a fucking ram, if this ram meat, like, and I will point to it like because I don't like it. It's too fucking gamey for me.
And he's like, no, honey, this is just venison. It's fine.
I'm just like, this is okay. So this is probably pork. This is chicken. This is the ram, isn't it? Because I always know that motherfucker hiding ram everywhere. So I've kind of seen the process, and it's just like
the people who swear by game meat that they love it, like that game food. They love that kind of stuff. Like some people, they just get a taste for it, and that becomes their favorite thing. Like raccoons. I know a guy who goes out and hunts raccoons. And they do it at night with flashlights. Like they shine a flashlight on the raccoon. He looks up at him like froze. That's when they blast him. It's like, oh, that feels so cruel.
A lot of people go frog hunting as well.
Yeah,
frog legs are like actually pretty good. I hate frogs. I hate saying it because I love frogs, but frog legs are like it's like a better version of chicken.
I don't know if I could eat frog legs.
I haven't tried frogs.
They're good.
I've seen chickens raised like they're very ignorant animal, I'll say, but frog just looks dignified. Frog looks like he's thinking about important things.
I don't want to see their face because I love frogs too much. So, Oki, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I
knew you were gonna hate that. I'm like, I'm gonna ask what's the weiirest thing question.
You kind of put me on the spot, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I honestly, I have no idea. Not much. Yeah, I'm kind of a picky eater, to be honest.
I tried sushi one time in Boston, and I don't think I've ever been sicker.
Well, that's the problem. You were in Boston. You were in fucking Boston. You can't eat sushi in Boston.
The sushi guys were very nice at the sushi restaurant. The people I was with, they were very, very adamant about, let's get sushi. We want sushi. I'm like, honey, I want pizza. Like I'm an American. I don't give a shit about all this stuff. Like they can enjoy sushi. You girls can love sushi, but I'm a pizza guy. Like
brother.
let's not.
I love pizza
let's
too.
not
I like
split
pizza.
hairs.
Listen, I love pizza and I love burgers. Like I love burgers.
And
I'm
the guys,
such a
the
fucking burger
sushi chef
bitch.
guys were so cool. Like they were so friendly, and they're like, "Here, take all this free stuff," and they gave us a bunch of stuff for free. And then the girls were like, "Oh, come on, try one piece of sushi. Come on, don't be a puss. It's like, all right, you want me to try the sushi? I'll try the sushi. And so I just held my nose, ate the sushi, swallowed it whole, and then I had never been that sick before. Oh man, like I
and
almost
also you
didn't make
got
it to
sick from it
PAX.
too.
Do you like
Yeah.
sushi? Do you like sushi, Oki?
Honestly, like I said, I'm a picky eater. I don't. The only fish I fuck with is tuna, actually, which is actually a very that is like a very fishy fish, for a lack of a better term.
It is. That's because that's me. I usually don't like a lot of fishy fish, but I will say I had a fatty tuna sushi roll in Vegas, probably a couple of months ago. And
I think that's what my sushi was that made me sick. Tuna roll.
It literally ruined me from all. We were at Morimoto, Japan. So, I mean, it's like the chef, like the Iron Chef Morimoto. So it's like we had the Wagyu beef and we had
Is he taking a bite out of an onion or a pepper when he starts that show? I don't remember.
Everything that we had was phenomenal. And we're eating the whole time, like halfway crying, going, fuck you. I can't ever eat anything ever again. Suck my dick, Morimoto. Fuck you. You ruined everything. You ruined everything. So I highly recommend any location of Morimoto, Japan. I've had 2 locations now. They're all pretty good. But so you've been over the last couple years, you've been traveling a lot. You've traveled a bit for, some of your documentaries. So does anything stand out to you where there's anything awkward, anything scary? I know you've had a couple of kind of scary moments.
Yeah, like meeting those alien guys.
Oh, okay. So I can talk.
Those
Okay, I
fellas.
can talk about this. I posted tweets about it, but I had to delete it.
Yeah.
Because Penny Idema, who was, I interviewed her, and we worked very closely together throughout the whole process of the last documentary I made, The King of Stolen Valor. She got kind of pissed off, when I posted a thing with this guy, Ron Barber, who arrived with her when, what's it called? I was interviewing her at my Airbnb, and she got pissed off because I mentioned in my tweet, in a picture with Ron Barber, that yes, here's me with Ron Barber. He went to prison for trying to assassinate Bill Clinton. And by the way, the Secret Service was outside of her Airbnb.
Yeah, I remember that tweet. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah.
It's a good tweet.
So I deleted it because she was worried about me, and she's a very sweet lady, and but also just just don't do that. Don't aggravate the Secret Service. And the reason she's saying that is because it was real. The Secret Service was outside of our Airbnb for we recorded over the course of 2 days the interview that I did with Penny, and the whole time that she and Ron Barber were there, 2 Secret Service cars were outside, and by the end of the second day, they were just all huddled up around a third car, standing outside, I guess bored to death, and they were right in front of, because we were in a cottage attachment to the owner of the cottage Airbnb. Their house was right next to us because we were in rural upstate New York. Mm-hmm. So their huge ass house is right next to the cottage. They can fucking see everything. And I had the guy who came with me, Chase, a friend of mine, who and he was really worried because he's like, they can just see everything, and you just have fucking Secret Service guys all hanging out in front of their fucking house. So it was pretty crazy, actually.
So were they in vans? What were they dressed like? Were they dressed like typical Secret Service dudes? Or
they looked like they literally just bought their clothes at Walmart. Everything looked
so they looked like dorks.
It looked new, but
they did just run to Walmart and grab some shit to try to blend in.
Yeah, they just hoodies, plain clothes, very plain clothes, sweatpants, stuff like that.
Sunglasses.
All of maybe I don't remember, but all of their cars had tinted windows. There was a sedan at one point. There was more of a van type deal. And I think altogether, I think the most cars at one point were 3. But yeah, they would just like while we were doing the interview, because like I could see the front of the cottage through the windows, and they just like walk from car to car, and it was an open detail on Ron.
I mean, I guess they got to keep tabs on that dude.
I mean, are they there every day for him, or were they just there when you were there?
Because he drove from I always forget. I think Virginia. I think that's what it is. I forget where. I always forget what state he's from. But he drove 10 hours, and I guess either because he explained this to me as well. And and again,
it's a lot of information you took in, so it's okay.
Yeah. So he either told them that he was gonna be coming to Connecticut, which I guess for them is like raises red flags because it's closer to Washington D.C. than where he's from, and so they have to follow him. Actually, Penny and Ron told me this story about like how they went to, funnily enough, they went to see the movie The Assassins, and the whole they had a Secret Service detail tailing them, and the whole theater had to be evacuated except for them and the Secret Service people to watch the movie.
You're watching together. That's so cute.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is Assassins the one with Antonio Banderas?
I don't even. I guess so.
It's the one. I think they're all old or some shit.
I'm trying to remember.
I think they're old. I think it's a movie that came out last year, and they're all like old. They're all old actors, and the shtick of the movie is that lol, we're old. We can't kick anymore. Like we can't move quite like we used to.
See, the one I'm thinking of is from the '90s with Stallone and Banderas.
No, it's not. Moore. This is like a new one that came out with old people. But that's funny. Like, okay, so do you think it's like those poor Secret Service dudes are like, why the fuck are we here watching this fucking movie? It's like,
yeah, you went through all this like G-Man training. You glow in the dark all these years, and this is what it's led to.
Bill Clinton was in office when he.
So he went to prison in.
Yeah,
he went to prison in '94.
So it's been this long. It's been 28 years.
Yeah, and also when you meet Ron Barber, you can immediately like the sense that you get from the guy is like he's got a very soft face. He's and then you meet him in real life. You talk to him. The guy's a sweetheart. Mm-hmm. So you just think this guy can't hurt a fly, but then you remember that he went to prison. For making threats against the president. And there's more to that story that I actually didn't add into the documentary. Things that I'm not sure about, but I didn't think it was that relevant to the main piece.
Not to tie it back to Michael Moore again, but the Bowling for Columbine, when he goes and talks to one of the Oklahoma City guys. And he's just the friendliest dude in the world, like taking him in his house, like, oh yeah, let me show you all my guns and stuff, Michael Moore.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that? Is that guy, I know like a hardcore libertarian guy who believes that people should be able to like build nukes in their garage. But like when Michael Moore talked to that guy, unless I'm mixing up documentaries, I might be. I'm pretty sure that guy even said like he wouldn't let people, like he doesn't think people should be able to build nukes in their garage. But
I think people like it's kind of like go ahead, but I think there has to be regulations, obviously, like if you want to build shit, because if you're not a nuclear physicist, you're going to fuck something up. And
well, there's a kid who did some kind of nuclear fission. I think he was taking stuff out
didn't he do it like
that
by accident or something?
He died, right? Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm looking at here, yeah. The radioactive Boy Scout was the kid's name.
Yeah.
David Hahn. Yeah, made a neutron source at the age of 17.
He was literally Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah. That's what it says here in quotation marks, Jimmy Neutron.
Oh God, they couldn't resist. I mean, I was just being basically like.
Yeah, it looks like the feds busted him in 2007. Yeah, he was in alleged possession of a second neutron source in his freezer. Oh wow,
very, very based.
I mean, is there a law against building a nuclear reactor in your house? What are they going to charge him with?
I would assume if if you order too many PVC pipes, the FBI is probably gonna.
You're gonna get put on a list like that.
No, they're probably like
I
honestly,
bet the Blue Man Group is on every list because that's all their instruments are PVC pipes.
Yeah, seriously. I like unless you're cleared, if like there's like if you order enough thermite or something like that, or you're gonna get it. You're gonna be visited by the ATF or the FBI or
you ever watch The Staircase?
No, what is that?
What was that one?
The Staircase was that documentary on Netflix, and it was actually
it's about the guy getting pushed his wife down the stairs.
Yeah, so he pushed his wife down the stairs, and it was actually the whole like case and everything was documented by by a group, and he's still like appealing and all this other shit. So did you hear how Ivana Trump died?
No.
What's going on with Ivana Trump?
She fell downstairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Like she fell, or did someone push her?
Saying stuff about Bob Saget. That there was some weird stuff with him, like it's supposed to have been blunt force trauma.
Well, he fell in the shower, right?
No, he's supposed to fell inside the hotel room.
Yeah,
onto
somewhere
the carpet.
like somewhere like in between like the bathroom and the room.
So
and, like the main room.
God,
that was
such
a weird. That was a weird time. Norm Macdonald and then
Bob and then Gilbert.
In Gilbert,
that was a nightmare.
Man, the saddest. They had a tape they did like a memorial service for Gilbert, and I was like, man, I love Gilbert. I feel like I gotta watch this, and that was one of the hardest tapes I think I've ever tried to watch because it's so sad. You see, I didn't realize this. Like his funeral, they had a picture of him up there, and they had like this big pine box. And I thought, oh man, like that's exactly the kind of funeral Gilbert would want, because that was always his thing, was just saving as much money as possible and just always being cheap on everything. Like that was his. He would take when he would go to hotels, anything they could get for free, like those little soaps and deodorants and toothbrushes, things like that. So they did a documentary about him where his wife had all those things like in a bag underneath their bed.
Really?
Just tons and tons of this stuff that Gilbert could not just throw this stuff away. And it was such a sweet memorial. I found out that the pine box thing, that was a religious thing. So because I talked to a friend of mine that's a funeral guy, he said, "Oh yeah, Jewish people, they don't have like fancy funerals. Like they just have just the plain pine box." Like, well, why does everybody else have these thousands of dollars for a casket? Like what's going on here?
Because you're getting ripped off. Like,
yeah, I feel
it's going into the ground. Nobody's ever gonna see it again. It's like fucking stupid. Yeah.
And it was a beautiful service. Like he had his his wife and his kids, of course, come up, and the girl, the one that plays the angry woman on Curb Your Enthusiasm, she was a speaker.
The wife.
Jeffrey Ross was there.
Okay.
And he had his buddy that he does his that Gilbert did his podcast with. He was there, and that poor guy, like that guy was just.
What did he? Did he have he had cancer? Right? I can't remember now.
I'm trying to recall what
he
it was.
had something. He's had something long term.
Yeah, Gilbert wasn't looking good on video for the last year and a half.
He was dealing. He was still doing. He was doing cameos up until like a month before. Still, did you know that? Like he was still doing cameos.
Yeah, I remember that he was like really into. He was really good at like
just one of the funniest dudes I think I've ever talked to. Like just a crazy funny dude.
Oh, you've spoken to him?
Absolutely. One of the greatest conversations. Like you want to talk about getting the rub from somebody. Like being able to say, "Oh yeah, I talked to Gilbert and he laughed," and like you just very thankful and very humble.
That's an honor. Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, because I can't put Gilbert over enough. Like when I think of funny people, like he's so funny. And even the shit with the tsunami stuff, like who gives a shit? Like you're supposed to make jokes. That's what a comedian does.
Yeah.
And here it is, Jen. Ventricular tachycardia, complicated by type 2 myotonic dystrophy. Translate that into nurse for me.
He had cardiomyopathy. So basically, what happens is that how much blood could get into your heart for it to pump? His ratio has been depleted, so it makes his heart rate go a little bit faster. So that in lies where it's just kind of like, because the blood's not flowing like it's supposed to be, it makes your heart beat faster and faster and faster and faster. Eventually, your body just kind of wears out like that. and it happens, and it happens in another way too, where it's just like where it doesn't beat enough or it beats too much. So or it beat too much. Yeah, that's a pretty long term. Like usually people know for even well over a decade.
He was
they have something like that.
He was looking pretty rough on video. I remember thinking year and a half ago, I saw him on something talking. I was like, Gilbert's not looking too good, but he was still one of the funniest dudes in the world. I tell you who really put over Gilbert was, you guys probably don't know the name Sven Gulli, but he's a horror movie host, I believe out of Chicago. He's like their local guy who does, the horror hosting. So he'll play, a couple of horror movies on Saturday nights, and there'll be like interstitials in between where he come out and do something silly, and like, here's the next movie, and here's, Vincent Price, and he was in all these movies, and talk about the movie. And he said that Gilbert, whenever he would come to Chicago, would always call him and say, "Hey, can I come on and be part of the show?" And he knew that he was on, like not cable TV, so he couldn't be, fully hog wild like he'd like to be. And said that he would always watch what he said and was always so charming and fun, and just really put over Gilbert like just like $1 million, like just love the guy. And
you said Vincent Price.
Yes.
Did you guys see the Monsters trail? Did you see that, Okie?
Like Monsters?
Yeah, the Monsters.
Are they remaking? Oh, Rob Zombie's doing the Monsters?
Yeah.
Yes. And that instantly, what do you expect from Rob Zombie's The Monsters?
Nothing.
Do you not like Rob Zombie movies, Okie?
I don't care for them that much, but also like I especially don't care for like Hollywood's reliance on IP.
Yeah,
they don't. It's just
Monsters has been done dirty over the years. Like there was like a Family Channel movie like 30 years ago, and they did like a reboot in the 80s that was really like, what is this crap? This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel like Monsters.
I don't know. I'm kind of living for Mrs. Zombie doing Lillian now.
So he's got his wife as Lily Zombie, and I'm curious to see how they're playing it, because it's very like colorful in the trailer. He says it's like a love story, and
it's colorful.
I think
it's throwing me off of the zombie vibe.
I'm there for
colorful.
Monsters. I'm there for Rob Zombie. Monsters. It was only on the air for like 2 years, but those are some of the most memorable and fun sitcom stuff that you're ever going to find. It's such a high concept, weird premise of this monster family, and they have the one cousin who's the beautiful girl who everybody's like, I'm sorry, you're so ugly, honey. It's okay, like they love her.
Oh yeah,
but she's like this blonde girl, beautiful girl. Like it's a very funny premise, and the show would often be like get rich quick schemes between Herman and Grandpa. Like they would have some crazy scheme on how they're going to make a ton of dough.
Dude, I fuck like hard with like old television right now. Like I just watch like fucking like All in the Family.
Yeah, you want to see
like,
All in the Family's great.
Fred Gwynn is so good. Like I've been watching. Maybe a year ago, I watched a bunch of Car 54. Where Are You? I'd never seen that one before.
Wait, what else? What else have you been watching, Okie?
Yeah, what are you watching, Okie?
So I watched a bunch of All in the Family, and then Columbo, and then there was a bit where I watched some Chips.
Yeah, Chips is a fun one.
And then I watched a few episodes of like Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, just like a bunch of like catching up on like golden age of television type
Paramount
stuff.
had MacGyver. I watched a couple of MacGyvers the other night.
I watched that shit on Spike TV when I was like a kid. I just fucking catch that shit all the time. I love cool. MacGyver.
MacGyver's got a great premise because
he's a tinkerer.
Yeah, he's a tinkerer. He's still like this masculine macho hero, but he's not looking to kill anybody. There was some sort of
defuse a bomb with like a piece of thread and a fucking like paper clip.
Something in his past with a gun. I think when we were kids, like a gun went off and killed a friend of his. So he never packs a gun, but he's always got his multi-tool, and he's always got just this satchel that he picks up full of just everything random that he finds as he's walking along.
You know who doesn't carry a gun? Columbo.
Yeah, Columbo.
Yeah, he doesn't. That's right.
Oh.
There's just there's one more thing, Okie.
Yeah, just one more thing.
Yeah, he scratches the nose.
There's like a Twitter account that I follow is like based Columbo stills, and there's all these stills from the show that are just like
I got one. I got one for you.
Insanely good. And I haven't completely I've watched a little bit of it. Oh, do you know what I watched last night?
What'd you watch, Jen?
Do you know what I watched last night with my boyfriend?
Yeah.
What's that?
One episode of the new Resident Evil on Netflix, and it's horseshit, and there's nothing Resident Evil about it. We watched it knowing that we were gonna shit on it, but let me tell you,
I got like 10 minutes in, didn't see a zombie, and I was like, "What is this shit?"
they show the dog towards the end of the first episode, and that's it. That's it. Umbrella Corporation logo is nothing like it. It's New Umbrella City for some fuck all reason. They're not explaining what happened to the old one. And it's ugly. The whole show is just so fucking ugly.
You can get away
I don't understand
with
why
not
they
showing the
do
monster
that.
if you do it right. But
I don't understand why they keep doing these fucking... They keep touching these, especially video game related.
So here's the thing, right?
It sells.
So yeah. And not only that, they'll just... The only way that they trust that a script will sell without like major like actors behind it or like major director or producer is that they'll just like tack on a licensed IP name that they have the license for onto a script that has nothing to do with it, and then hire a bunch of screenwriters to kind of make it similar, and it's just this Frankenstein monster of a thing, and it's inevitably it's going to be cheap garbage. That's what happened with Cowboy Bebop as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop was awful.
Oh, that show.
And I'm not even a Cowboy Bebop fan, and it was just like, oh, this is just fuck. No, because it was like if you know, I guess it could be perfectly fine if you know nothing about Resident Evil at all.
Yeah.
Like, I guess in that sense, it could be kind of okay, but it's kind of like, okay, so how did Umbrella Corp just not like rebrand into something else? How the fuck are they still in business? Yeah. And how are they explaining what happened to old Umbrella City? What the fuck is going on? And you're not getting any of these answers. We're probably not going to get any of these answers. And it makes just like zero fucking sense. And it's really frustrating to people who are an actual fan of the franchise.
So I'll tell you a crazy one, Jen, is the second Freddy Krueger. The first Freddy Krueger was such a big hit, they wanted to turn around a sequel as quickly as possible.
What Wes Craven's New Nightmare was a piece of flying shit too, by the way.
I'm talking the second one. This is the first sequel right out of the gate. I believe it was Freddy. What was it called? Freddy's Dead, Freddy's Return, something like that. Freddy's Nightmare. This second movie is known as the homoerotic nightmare amongst fans of these horror movies and that sort of thing.
Why is it homoerotic?
Well, Jen, it is maybe one of the gayest movies ever made. Like this, Freddy Krueger possesses a boy in his dreams, and it seems like every time that this kid gets horny, Freddy Krueger comes out and kills somebody. So like he goes to a leather bar at one point. He sees his gym teacher in like the shower. Oh yeah,
but that's kind of like that whole thing from like, you know, you remember like the speech in Scream about like, you know, the people who are impure die immediately, right?
Well, it's kind of like, it's a little bit like Camp Crystal Lake. You're fucking around, like Jason gonna come after you.
And the only one who gets to live is the virgin.
Yeah. Yes.
I always wanted to see one where the only one that lived was the hoe. The one that just spread it around
the virgin is usually the final girl.
Interesting.
You want to subvert expectations. Show the hoe. Like what would the hoe do to beat Jason? It's like, well, she's just like, I'll tell you what, Jason, I'll just give you HJ and then I'll leave.
She can fix him.
I think like Cabin Fever, wasn't it like I think the hoe in Cabin Fever was like one of the last people to...
Oh, man, I can't remember. Like Cabin Fever was such a... You want to talk about a fever dream of a movie. Like the little kid biting people and saying pancakes, and there was the weird guy in the store there that was saying racial slurs, like, and then comes the dudes, and they're like his buddies, and it's like a goof, and it's like, what the hell is this movie?
I'll tell you what was that one that Eli Roth, he did a remake of a movie? Was it Cabin Fever?
I think there is a remake of Cabin Fever, but I haven't caught that one yet. I need to make
Okay, so there was one that it was made in 2004, and then Eli Roth made like a remake of it, or vice versa, and they were like identical. The movies were, it had not enough time had passed, and the movies were practically identical. Do you remember which one that was?
They did that with Psycho back in the 90s. Somebody did a shot for shot.
Wasn't that Steve? No, I think that was Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, it was. And they did it like shot by shot.
And Vince Vaughn was the guy.
Vince Vaughn, yeah, he played.
Yeah,
it was
they tried to. The only
Played
change
Norman.
that
and
I
he did
remember,
it. He did it in black and white as well.
He was
Yeah.
doing a lot of like pounding off gestures as he's watching people. Like he was that kind of creepy.
I love Steven Soderbergh's movies. If I'm correct in that was a Steven Soderbergh directed movie. I do like how eclectic he is. Like, I mean, that
Is
guy
he the
did
one that
like
did Solaris?
yeah, he did a Solaris remake. Yeah, and he also did like Ocean's 11, like the remakes with like George Clooney and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
like did these big like fun remake movies that made a ton of dough, and then it's like, oh, let me remake Solaris.
He did that. I think he did that in the 90s. So that was before Ocean's 11.
Was
but
Gus
he's
Van
also
Sant who did.
it was
the Psycho remake in 1998.
Okay, all right. So I mix it up. So yeah. So like so Steven Soderbergh did the Solaris remake, and then Gus Van Sant did the Psycho remake. But back to Steven Soderbergh real quick. Like, I mean, he did like that in the Ocean's 11 movies, but he's done he's very eclectic. So he'll like switch his style every single time he makes a movie. And he's had a long career where he hasn't really had like his thumbprint really on anything because he's constantly just trying new things. Like he's very, I think he's very, very underrated as a director.
I think it'd be fun to make a movie of every type, to do a little bit of everything. You want to do your Western movie, you want to do a horror picture, you want to do this crazy like hard drama that's like a very small like character study, or do a romance movie that's very sweeping and everybody feels sad at the end. One of those kind of movies. You all seen those movies. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, for a while that was like
never having to say you're sorry.
So I think that also though, like that, like really does. There's like a romanticism there because like it harkens back to like the old like television directors and movie directors that were pretty much pumping out like pulp entertainment.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I think the pulp stuff is you want to talk about some of the most fun stuff anybody can get into, like the old Conan the Barbarian stories, the old H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Like those, when I think of pulp stuff, the Shadow, like those old Shadow radio dramas, or I would even count something like Dragnet. Dragnet's pretty
Dragnet
is
like you can find shit, dude.
You can find those on Spotify, like the just straight up radio plays.
I love that shit.
We've been goofing on those every once in a while on the show here. Just the facts, Okie. Go ahead.
I love that shit,
dude.
I love that. I love the show Dragnet, but I also do listen to like radio plays, like old like Raymond Chandler radio plays are really fucking good as well.
It's so fast, and you can find tape of like Mel Blanc is so well known for doing Looney Tunes, but my God, to hear that guy live on radio as in recording, just doing all these voices, talking to himself.
Do you know what his tombstone says, by the way?
What does his tombstone say?
He literally has the Star of David, and it says, "That's all, folks."
That's good. That's good.
It's so dope. Because he's Porky Pig, get it?
Yeah, that's all, folks.
But I'm also like I'm a huge fan of like radio as a medium as well. Like
there's another series of movies. Before I lose the thought, they were TV movies, and they did like one, and then they did like a series of them. The Night Stalker. You ever catch any of those?
No, but
I've heard of them.
I'm thinking about the serial killer right now. The Night Stalker. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Ramirez. Yeah, I think he came later.
Yeah.
But he would go out and he's doing like the Columbo thing where he's a private investigator looking into stories, and it turns out that, oh, hey, actually it's a monster. And then he has to stop the monster. And it's made for TV, so it's extra silly. And it's in the 70s, so it's even, there's a certain quiche factor to the 70s that, there's a lot of polyester and wood paneling.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels grungy. The 70s feel grungy.
They felt porny.
Like muted, muted greens and browns.
Mid cocaine, pre AIDS. So you can do anything.
You can like, it's like you can smell the 70s.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like they made their furniture darker because people would like burn their cigarettes out on the couch. So that's why you see so much muted browns and greens in the 70s furniture and everything.
You know what?
Shag carpeting. Oh God!
Do you know what I've always been obsessed with, and it started with a channel. It started with Dan Bell's channel on YouTube. because he goes through those dead malls, and then he'll put
Cam, yeah.
He'll
what do they
put,
call
like,
it? Urban exploration.
Yeah, but he does more like dead. That's more like the content that I like out of him is that he'll go through malls that used to be popping and walk around, and they're very kind of depressing, but they're really interesting. But he'll show like malls from the 80s when they were popping, and they would have like fashion shows. Like the whole like 80s mall aesthetic is something that
Go see Tiffany come out and sing. I think we're
no,
alone
like
now in the middle of the mall.
I'm
that's what they
obsessed.
did
I
with
know
her. That's how
exactly
they got
what you're
her
talking
over.
about.
I'm obsessed with the plants and the wood and the brass and the neon lights all together. That's
Did
an
you see that?
aesthetic
What about
that
the
I
girl
fuck
on the-
with.
Did you
on
see
radio?
that? Did you see that?
now for the our blue light special, Jen?
No. Okay,
That
what?
voice.
Did
Yeah,
you see
Oki's
that?
got
Did you
something.
see? Did you see that Twitter post of that person who found unearthed like an old Taco Bell that was like hidden behind like boards? Like they just found the interior of this Taco Bell.
What?
Yeah, it's a crazy post. I think
Hold
I have
on, let me find
bookmarked.
it.
I think I have it bookmarked somewhere.
There's a crazy video of a guy going to the old Nickelodeon
No,
studios.
I'm. Oh yeah, that was
that
Adam
was a
the
good
Woo.
one too.
That was Adam the Woo.
Because it's so sad to see something that was so hot for so many years. Like I wonder what happened to that time capsule they buried.
So where do you know where this fucking Taco Bell was at? No, I'm like hot on the trail. I want to see it.
I found someone who. Oh no! Okay, this isn't it. It's bookmarked. I'll send it to you some other time, I guess. Like,
Okay.
I mean,
we
there's-
need
no
this
problem.
Taco Bell. We need to see.
I need
this.
it.
yeah,
We
no,
all
for
need
sure.
to see this.
Somebody just walked in there and it's like, hello.
No, they
just-
they owned the property or something, and they found it somehow, like hidden. I don't remember all the details, but it was like it was preserved. Like everything like looked exactly how it looked. Like
So they just like pulled up back a panel or a sheetrock or something, and there's just like this whole Taco Bell.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
I found like I was actually looking at like old restaurant interior from like I don't know how like I went down a rabbit hole one day, but I saw like the old like Chuck E. Cheese and I saw the carpet and I nearly just fucking creamed. How fucking amazing did it all used to look? And then it's like you look at it now and you compare it to now, it's just so fucking ugly. Like what happened?
So I started doing retro memes on. I got that old account back, so I figured out what to do with that. I started doing retro stuff, and I found a Chuck E. Cheese training video. And they had this weird stamping system where they would stamp the kids and stamp the parents with a number so that they could try to keep track of kids like running out of the place.
God, it sounds like Auschwitz.
Yeah.
It did not look good. And like the girl has even said like, oh, if somebody doesn't want the stamp on them, you can give them a little card with a stamp on it. And she's got this weird stamping thing. I went to Chuck E. Cheese once as a kid in that would have been like 92. I kind of remember getting the stamp.
I went there a few times. I went there. I think I went there for like my 6th birthday party.
Okay, let me tell you. When you're a kid, when you're a kid, you get really really hyped to go. And these were okay. I'll break. I had probably like 2 or 3 like parties. Like my mom always brought a cake, but then like if you were the birthday kid, you got like. They would bring you your own like personalized like Chucky cake, and it was
that was on the video.
It was a frozen. It was like a frozen piece of shit, but it was just for you, and you got to take it, and nobody else was allowed to eat it because it was yours. And then you got like the birthday kid got like your token, and then you had like the little spring holder thingy, and I always got like a pink one. And like it was just your fucking day. So it's like I really had like fond memories of those. But then like years later I went back, I took like my nieces and it was like, this is a fucking hellhole.
I loved Chuck E. Cheese as a kid.
I loved it as a kid too.
But
like
I'm
it
not
was like
sure
it was my shit.
I haven't been
but
there
now
since.
it's like,
the
oh
one
my
we went
God.
to was in Maryland. We were staying with family because that's what you do on vacation when you're poor. You just go stay with family.
Oh, where in Maryland?
It would have been closer to Baltimore.
Okay. I'm gonna be going to Bethesda.
So we went to a.
oh wait, really?
We went to a Chuck E. Cheese out there, and I remember it being mostly arcade games. They had like the big nasty ball pit, and even as a kid, I was like, I don't know if I want to jump in that. That just seems unsanitary. I was that kid. I was the little Chucky. He was just like, no, that's unsanitary. I'm not doing that. But the arcade games I enjoyed quite a bit.
I don't know, Tommy.
they also had Hungry Hungry Hippos set up where if you played that and beat everybody, you got tickets.
Okay,
I do remember that. Yeah.
But
Holy shit, yeah, I think
you know what?
ours
I
had that
saw
as well.
And I
like a
remember-
Chuck E. Cheese thing I wanted to do at VidCon, but the line was way too fucking long.
I remember the tickets that I got. I had enough to get a bunch of rubber bugs, and so I
You
just got
can't-
a big
You
bag
can't get
filled
shit with
rubber
tickets
gum.
now.
Oh
You
man,
can't get shit with tickets now. It's horseshit. It's absolutely rigged bullshit, but I'll tell you, I did see like a Chuck E. Cheese thing that I really wanted to do at VidCon, but the line was so fucking long. It was like, you were like the human claw machine where they'd put you up, and it was for one of those giant like squishmallow thingies. But the line was like an hour long. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm like, well, I want to do that. And then I saw the line, no, never mind.
What prize would so what prizes would you go for at that kind of thing? Like the eraser tops, the what they have, like those balls, the Velcro balls that you could throw at one another, like that kind
if
of
they
stuff.
had little stamps, I would usually go for the little stamps.
I'm telling you, those rubber bugs.
Or a ball.
We went to the
Bouncy
beach that
balls.
day, and I ended up burying them in the sand. Like that was a good use of rubber bugs, because somebody somewhere found those bugs, like dug them up, like, oh, bugs, what's going on here? That's my favorite
I've
kind
always
of prank.
wanted to try and go back to one of those places and like offer the money for the prizes. Like if I can get like one of the guys behind the counter and like, isolate him and be like, look, I just give you the money. Just give me the fucking thing. I just want to see if that would work.
I don't
did
even
that
know
back
what...
in March at Universal Studios, because let me tell you, I was playing one of those stupid basketball things because I looked everywhere and you couldn't buy a fucking Ralph Wiggum plushie, okay? That's all I fucking wanted. You could only win it at this, like, one of those little rip-off, like, basketball hoopy thingies.
Yeah.
And so after I had probably spent, like, $30 on trying to get this thing, I finally was like, dude, just let me fucking buy that shit. That's all I want. This is all they want. It's like,
Did the guy let you buy it?
That's so horseshit. No!
Should have slipped him a 50.
Was he
I'll
around
slip
other
you a
people?
50.
No, like he was the only one running the booth, and there was nobody else in the next
Was he on
booth.
camera?
Yeah, he's probably on camera.
Everywhere?
That's what
He
I'm thinking.
probably was on camera. It was like, God damn it, I just
bet
wanted
you-
that fucking crowd.
You gotta
I bet
isolate him.
I bet you it's like Las Vegas at those kind of places where it's just you're not only on camera, but they've got audio on you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's just a Ralph plush. Universal, if you're listening, it's just a fucking Ralph plush.
Could you
God
not find
damn
him
it.
on eBay?
Sell it in. I can't find it. Or they have like the literal like gift shop, which is the Quickie Mart, like fucking 15 steps away. Why don't you just sell them there? God damn it. That's all they want.
That would be really smart, actually.
Yes.
I think that.
But could they make more off of how many people really, really want the Ralph plushie?
Oh, you just want
You
to
can- you can sell it for like 3 times.
If they get a Jen who's got the money to burn, and it's like, you know what,
Mhm.
we're gonna
and
put
it's a
this.
huge fucking ridiculous like Simpsons
We're
fan.
gonna put this basketball game here, which will give her some tickets, but we'll just get her for $80, $90 for what's like a $5 plushie.
Yeah, I had probably spent about $40 on that stupid game. It didn't get shit.
God, that's so much. I can't. I
But
once watched two gals spend $40 in,
a Bort license plate and a Bort pin and a Bort keychain because they had those. Bort.
See, that's good. I once watched two gals spend $40 in it was a Jurassic Park, but one of those gun games where you like climb in the thing and you have the gun. And this was a newer one.
They have that shit at the falls, like, don't they, Okie? That's like the only
I forget
thing
where we were.
Niagara
Somewhere
Falls?
in Tennessee. It was
Yeah,
like
they
the
have like all
Gatlinburg.
those carnival-y shit like over at the falls. That's like the only place that you guys have, right?
No, I mean there's like a lot of places like that, like little, but I don't know, like I don't like Niagara Falls at all. I kinda hate it.
Niagara Falls.
I've never
Slowly
been. I haven't
turn.
been yet. I haven't been
Inch
yet. I
by
will go,
inch.
but I haven't been yet.
Step by
There's
step.
there's tacky shit everywhere. I mean, not only in Niagara Falls, but like there's.
It's a tourist trap. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
they gotta,
pretty much.
They gotta
yeah.
sell. Yeah, so it's kind of like that's just kind of like
I
how
just can't
Hollywood
believe that the
is.
sucker would just sell
I
you the damn doll.
prefer if you're ever in Canada and you want somewhere like really nice that's like a lot more low key and actually like kind of classy, Niagara on the Lake, which is not too far from that, and that's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's like old architecture. Everything's very preserved, very nice. It's a tourist trap as well, but it's a lot more classy.
Do people still go over Niagara Falls in barrels? That used to be a big thing
No, Charles,
dude
like
who
you
did
literally
that, yeah.
die.
There was
I
a few
bet
people
ya-
who did that.
I bet you there's people that
Well,
did
don't
it and live.
people do it illegally though, right?
Yeah. And there's also people who announce that they're going to do it and then do it.
Are they naked like in the cartoons? Like naked in the barrel?
I don't.
Oh, there's a
I
lot
don't
of people who do like
recall.
weird, sketchy shit like that for stunts, like the human fly man that would climb up skyscrapers.
Or the people who do like the
Who's the guy? There's
balloon people as
Oh
well.
god, there's a
The
dude
one guy-
who did. He walked the tightrope between the twin towers. That
Yeah,
nutty ass. Like that's a nut.
the
Like
French
how
guy.
nut? Yeah, he was a Frenchman.
Oh,
That
God.
documentary, honestly, that's one of my favorite documentaries of all time. Man on Wire. I think it's from 2010 or something like that.
Yeah, it's not that
And it's-
old.
And he talks, like him and his team talk about everything that they did to climb a tightrope between the twin towers. It's fucking incredible. One of the greatest documentaries of all time, if not the greatest.
What other
documentary of all time.
documentaries you like? Oh,
Yeah, what's your favorite?
you like
I really
a King
like
of Kong? What do you go?
Oh, King of Kong is really good, and it's really crazy to see like that story like evolve into like now we're like YouTubers are beefing with what's his name, Billy
Mitchell? Yeah,
yeah, like but
Billy
I
always has a plan. I'm on Team
Is
Billy.
that-
I want
I've
to
got an official
watch-
team. I'm officially on Team Billy. I'd rather be with him than against him.
I saw the
believe-
DB Cooper, the one on DB Cooper on Netflix. I haven't watched it, but I saw the trailer for it, and it actually looks really interesting.
DB Cooper is a fascinating story. He held up the airplane and jumped somewhere over the Pacific Northwest with a ton of money.
And nobody knows where the fuck, like, who he is. So this Netflix one is about, like, supposedly they found him, but I don't know.
That's
they've
interesting.
done a lot of that.
Yeah, I saw it because I was watching a bit of the Warren Jeffs docuseries about the fundamentalist Mormons yesterday.
Oh, I saw a bit of that. Okay, so like going back a second there. So like favorite documentary filmmakers,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Who's
so
your Mount Rushmore? Who are your guys?
Yeah.
Earl Morris, Louis Theroux,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess right now it's I don't know if you can consider Nathan Fielder a documentarian, but I mean
he's doing like those are more like man on the street kind of things, like interactive. I don't know what there needs to be a good
very
name
similar.
for these like prank, the interaction like live prank thing. Because Jackass has kind of transitioned to doing that with the old man stuff, the Sacha Baron Cohen kind of thing, where it's Eric Andre just did a movie like that.
I think you can kind of consider all of them documentarians, but it's not necessarily like this all the same style.
Yeah, there needs to
of
be a
documentary
word
filmmaker
for like that prank style of thing that they're doing.
I really fuck with Sacha Baron Cohen a lot, though. I think that guy's genius.
Yeah, he is.
Adam Curtis is really fucking good. That guy's phenomenal. Yeah.
Who's the worst? What's the worst documentary
you hate
you've ever
Ken
seen?
Burns?
No, I love Ken Burns. I think it's great. I don't know who's the worst.
What's probably like the most boring documentary you've ever watched?
Jacques Cousteau.
Honestly, it's a lot of like new like Netflix stuff that they do, like a lot of like shit that they dump on streaming platforms that you can tell that no one gave a shit about it, and it's just
so the padding is what kills them.
Yeah, you have like fucking 7 parts for something that could be done in 90 minutes. Like,
because I was watching that Jeff's docuseries yesterday, but I think like by like the 3rd episode, it kind of lost me. Because I had already seen a couple of docs on the whole situation before, where it's kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever.
So here's my
There's nothing.
Here's my litmus test for a good documentary. If I'm watching it before looking at the Wikipedia article, right? If I continue to watch it without doing that, because if I feel like it's wasting my time, I'm gonna shut it off. I'm gonna read the Wikipedia article.
Yeah, let's just see who killed the wife. Like, who gives a shit? Just tell me.
You don't need to spread it over like that many. I don't have time like that.
3.5 hours. Like, I just tell me if he shoved her or not.
Yeah, I don't have that time, and like I feel like you're wasting my time, and I can just find it, and you're just wasting. Yeah, it's bullshit,
I would like to see a
dude.
documentary that starts off that way. Like, oh hey, actually he shot her, and we're going to tell you why and how he did it.
That's good though.
That would be interesting.
I think that's a better approach. Actually,
There was a Jack Black movie where he plays the guy that he was beloved by the town. He was like
Bernie.
this very
Bernie. Yeah.
Bernie. Yeah, he was a beloved by the town guy, and he ends up. I guess they were in a relationship. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember if the movie portrayed him as like a sexual relationship or not.
So that's a how did it, right? As opposed to a who done it, right? And I actually think that the how did they do it thing is actually more interesting. So that's like actually how I always craft my what I'm doing, right? It's like I tell you immediately what the whole thing's about and what happens, right? And then you learn how that happened.
You set the hook, and then you've got them on the line, and then it's all about reeling somebody in.
And to be honest, too, and this is something that might be controversial, I fucking hate mystery. I think it's the stupidest genre ever. I don't care for mystery at all. I don't want any mystery. I just want to put it out there.
So you don't like Agatha Christie. You don't like Poirot. You don't like Sherlock Holmes.
I appreciate it. I love what I love. Like I think that they're greats, and like I hate. There's something about the genre of mystery where it's like it never is as fulfilling as you think it's going to be when you find it out. I'd rather just find out immediately, or I just don't like that like gnawing feeling about like, well, why don't you just fucking show me your hand? I feel like I'm being tricked.
See, that's what I always liked about Dragnet is they were very matter of fact, going from
procedural.
Yeah, very procedural. It's very realistic that way. We get the information on what we've got to do. There's blood here. 2 kids are missing. What are we going to do? Let's get our guy down here to look at it who knows bullets. He'll tell us exactly what the gun is. Then we find out, oh, hey, the kid was supposed to get one for Christmas, and that gun's missing from the closet. And then the kid shows back up, but the other boy's missing. And then the cop talks to him and finds out, oh, actually, I shot my buddy with that rifle, and I got him out in the weeds. Like, I buried him out there under some weeds.
Beautiful.
And he's like, and then at the end of the show, it's like the story you just saw was true. It's like, holy shit. And that was the Christmas episode of Dragnet.
Dragnet is so fucking dope.
I love how that ended, and that was the Christmas episode of Dragnet.
Dun 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 dun. You knew it was somebody's ass when that was going on.
You know, it's like a really good show, like a companion piece to watch alongside Dragnet is Naked City, which has had like every single like 1960s and 1970s star you can think of was in Naked City, like Marlon Brando, like Christopher Walken, like I think Al Pacino was in it at one point, Alda, just like a huge amount of people. It's probably the most star-studded TV show of all time, Naked City.
I'm thinking maybe Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke had a run where everybody was on Gunsmoke.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it was on for so many years, and there's so many episodes of it.
I never really got that into like the cowboy thing. Like
I'm sure Jen watched the Tarantino movie about Hollywood. I can't remember the one with the Manson family.
Once Upon a Time and
that's the one. It had. I remember Hollywood being the title, but Leo DiCaprio plays this character who's kind of like a washed up. He had a hot show and then it cooled off, and now he's playing the heavy on shows. And there was a lot of that back in the 60s and 70s with TV, even in going back to 50s too. So it's a lot of like you would get a guy like a William Shatner to show up on a show like Kung Fu and just completely steal every scene that he's in, just chewing the scenery. Because I think Shatner was a Scottish pirate who had to fight Kung Fu.
Really?
Yes, and he's drinking Crevassier. And it's just a fantastic. Like, there's no way in hell that whole like heavy storyline there wasn't based on Shatner in that episode of Kung Fu. Like that, I get the chance to ask Tarantino. I'm like, hey, was that based off of that fucking Kung Fu episode? Had Shatner playing the Scottish guy because he's so good, and he disappears into the role because he's got a beard, a big pirate hat. It's just fantastic acting.
So I saw that. I think that. Well, okay. So what do you think about like later career Tarantino?
He's made interesting choices.
Yeah.
Interesting being the nicest way I can say something to somebody. Like, oh, it's interesting.
So I saw Hateful Eight, like 70 millimeter on the road show that he did. I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in theaters. Yeah. I just haven't.
I bet audiences eat that up. I bet when he comes out with that flamethrower, audiences just go crazy, like howling and yelling at that.
I haven't been fucking with Tarantino that much. I think since
I didn't catch the Hateful Eight. I liked Django. I thought that one was fun.
Hateful Eight got a little boring. Hateful Eight got a little boring.
Like that's so good.
Hateful Eight is like his worst movie, I think.
It kind of was. Jennifer Jason Leigh was excellent
in it.
Oh yeah, she was great. Yeah,
she was amazing. But for the whole premise of the movie, like I get, like, oh, it could have been like a play because it was basically like in one
location
set,
kind of deal.
But it was pretty boring.
A lot of people don't like Jackie Brown. Have you seen Jackie Brown?
I
fuck with Jackie Brown like hardcore. I've read the book too.
I
read the Albert Leonard book.
Beaumont's an employee I had to let go.
Is there anything even coming out like that's even worth watching? Like, I haven't seen any. I'm
trying to think. What's a movie I heard coming out that I'm interested in seeing?
I can't remember the last time I watched a movie in the last like 2 years where I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" Like
everything,
this is amazing.
Everything, everywhere, all at once was like fucking phenomenal.
People tell me the one with the handsome fella from True Blood is a Viking. They tell me that one's good.
It's okay.
I can't remember the name of it now.
The Northman or something like that.
The Northman.
I think it's something like that's the Eggers movie. That's same guy who made The Witch, the Witch.
Oh, the Witch.
It's spelled with two V's. So,
yeah. The Witch.
Yeah, it's okay. I think it's called The Northman. I watched
it.
It's all
maybe
right.
The last movie I saw, there were 2 movies I saw within the last couple of years that really flipped my cookie. The one I just saw was a more recent one. It was called Dragged Across Concrete. It was
that guy is good. That's the Vince Vaughn movie.
It's a Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson are cops who, they're not necessarily dirty, but they're they're a little rough on a guy.
I've seen
and they get taped, and then slowly the story kind of turns. There's like a few other characters, and eventually there's some dragging across concrete that happens, and it's such a great premise. The way
it's a very gritty, pulpy kind of it's not pulpy, but like the genre is pulpy, but it's like very muted in its presentation style. And it's a total slow burn. But you got to watch that same director. I think his name's Craig
Tomahawk.
Z. Bone Tomahawk.
Tell you about Bone Tomahawk.
That is a sick movie.
All real weird sickos must see Bone Tomahawk. Because Dragged Across
Bone Tomahawk is the goriest fucking movie, and I fuck with it heavily.
There's a sumbitch that gets wishboned in this movie.
Kurt
Russell. I watched it because of Kurt Russell. I was like, because they got the star. I was like, all right, Kurt Russell in a Western. It's Thursday night at 12 o'clock. I'm going to watch this for 3 hours.
And you don't know where you have it?
Like no in store for you. That it was going to be what it was, because it is. I think we talk about wrestling here a lot, about underdog stories and how to build a baby face, that kind of stuff, storytelling technique. There's a babyface character who's an underdog in this movie who by the end of that movie is literally like limping, crippled with 3 shots in his gun, and he's got to go rescue everybody and save the day. And he's been made to look like the biggest puss, who everything he does is awful because he's a drunk and he fell off a roof and he shot the wrong guy. Like, there's all sorts of shit against this guy, and it's like, this is your hero at the end of the 3rd act. It's like, oh, that's so brilliant. That's perfect storytelling right there to me. Is you've built this up, and now we get to see him try to climb up this mountain. That's how you do a climax in a story.
You know what's crazy about that guy Craig Z? Like he doesn't only he directs it, but he also writes all of those movies.
Yeah, he's a novelist.
He was a novelist and he was a cinematographer before that. But he writes the scripts for those movies all in like one draft. That's it. He does one draft and that's it. And he shoots the film based off of that initial draft. No editing, just one draft.
God, I was so into that movie. The first 2 minutes is Sid Haig and David Arquette are playing like bandits.
May he rest in peace.
Man, yeah, Sid Haig.
I'm sad, man. I'm still sad about it. I'm still fucking pissed.
Yeah, we're everybody's pissed because Rob Zombie farted around too long to make the new sequel to those.
No. That's not even what made that movie awful. That movie. Okay, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started with why. I feel like we talked about this
before on a podcast.
The budget really, really was ass.
Yeah,
it looked horrible. They had to go ahead and shove in that brother that we never heard of him before ever, even though we've known about the whole fucking family in the past. And they shoved in some brother that we had no idea who the fuck he was. And he totally didn't fit. It was awful. let's never speak of it again.
I feel like we're gonna speak of it
Yeah, we probably will.
because it's like Rob Zombie movies. I'm there for. And
Me
this
too.
this guy, what's the fellow's name? Okie that did Bone Tomahawk.
So I don't remember his full last name, but it's Craig Z.
Craig
from
Z.
the
I am there
initial of
for
his
Craig
last
Z. Anything
Hell
this guy
yes.
touches, I want to see. If you tell me that Craig Z is working on My Little Pony the movie,
Mhm.
I will make it an effort to watch that.
Like
Oh, yeah,
my
he's a
dad
total
told me,
phenom.
when my dad watched it, he was like, "Oh, you gotta." It was on Amazon Prime at the
That's
time.
where I watched.
And he goes, "You gotta watch Bone Tomahawk." And I was like, "Eh." And he goes, "No, just trust me, just trust me and watch it." I was like, "Holy shit!" Like
Yeah.
that was. I very rarely take my dad's movie recommendations, but goddamn, I'm glad I listened to him.
Because it's not just a Western. Like I said, it's
gore. He liked it because he knows that I like really gory shit. So
See, I feel
he
like
was
the
like,
gore is
that's why
just
he
a
told
part
me.
of it. It's the story.
I know.
It's the
I know.
story.
It's the story. The story's great, but my dad solely recommended it to me based on the amount of gore. Because we watched, what's that fucking Eli Roth movie?
Green Inferno?
Great Inferno. We watched that one together and he couldn't get past like the first
started reading
25
Jen's
minutes.
Yeah. Well, I
Pretty
was
soon
about
we'll
to
be
ask
completing
you.
each other's sandwiches.
I was
Uh-huh.
about to ask you, Charles. I if you haven't seen a movie called Last Shift, I personally haven't seen this in like 3 years. So, but what I remember from it was it's the only movie in my memory that scared me as an adult. Right?
Ooh,
that's the
big
only
words.
movie.
Big
Yeah,
words.
3 years ago. So, but it did scare me.
Ooh, a satanic movie.
Yeah. So, like, I think that the thing people have an issue with it is like it doesn't really stick to its own rules, but I think it was like so effective in the
Here's
way
the
that.
thing. You want to talk about rules of movies? One of the best pieces of writing advice I've ever heard from somebody. It was, I think it was John Landis was telling the story about talking to his son, Max Landis, and Max was writing
Landis.
a TV show. Yeah, he was writing a TV show about vampires, and his dad was going to direct the episode. It was the Masters of Horror, as I recall, and he was asking his dad, like, yeah, I don't know if this really sticks to the rules of vampires. And he said, Max, vampires aren't real. There are no rules. You make it up as you write it. Like, don't be beholden to some bullshit.
I think that like hardcore.
Vampires, like you look at Twilight, if you decide that vampires can walk out in the daytime, who cares?
Or if
it's
they
not
shine
real.
diamonds or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that like people, like hardcore horror fans, like, I don't know, for some reason.
Werewolves don't turn into werewolves when they shoot heroin.
It's all fake,
that really
right?
happens in American Werewolf in Paris. If the werewolves shoot heroin, they turn into werewolves.
I've seen American Werewolf in London. I haven't seen American Werewolf in Paris.
Speaking of American, like those cartoony Japanese movie posters they used to do?
Yes.
Have you ever seen the American Werewolf in London one?
No.
Is it good?
I need to see this.
It's amazing. I'm gonna post. Let me find it, and I'm
looking for it now. American Werewolf in London, Japan.
Japanese movie poster. It is amazing.
I don't know if I've seen this one because
it's so good.
I think as far as movies go, that might be my favorite because it's a
perfect
romance movie. It's a horror movie. It's a comedy.
It's a great tone. It's a great tone. The whole tone of the movie, I really love.
It was supposed to be for John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd originally. Like that's what I had heard, but I don't know.
Into podcast content.
You ever hear the story about like?
Here it is. Yeah,
it's such a wacky poster here.
It's great.
He's like got a little bit of facial hair and chest hair, and he's gripping the girl's face with a clawed hand. And she's like smiling upside down, and then at the bottom, it's the werewolf with his face like upper skirt, and she's the nurse. At the top, there's him with the balloons when he was running naked, and then it's the house coat, isn't it? Oh my goodness! Oh, that's good.
It's great, isn't it?
I love that movie so much. We'll have to talk in depth about the American Werewolf in London sometime. Write that down, Jim.
I'm
make a stern note about that one. Okie, what else you got going on, buddy? As we wrap up,
what's coming up in the pipeline? Yeah.
So I'm working on this story about this guy named Daniel Beckett, who in 2013 he was kicked out of the University of Illinois for a series of vandalism sprees where he filled a professor's office with the most noxious smelling fruit in the world. Hello?
Yeah, Oki cut out
okay.
on me. What was it, Oki? We heard everything. The guy's name was Daniel, and then you cut out.
I thought my Discord died.
Okay, so I can just I'll just redo that. All right. So I'm making a video about this guy named Daniel Beckett, who in 2013 he was kicked out of his university for it was a hacking spree, and it was also a vandalism spree. So he filled his professor's office with the most noxious smelling fruit in the world, durian. He filled it his professor's office with a smoothie of that, and he hacked into all of his professors and TAs emails, and he started fucking with the exam schedule and stuff like that. And then so he's arrested and investigated by the FBI. He's arrested for that, and then 7 years later, this is what he ended up getting incarcerated for. Is he was building a nuclear bunker underneath his house.
Okay,
and he had a guy die in an electrical fire, a 21-year-old kid. And so so he's currently incarcerated, but he's getting out soon. Timing is perfect. I'm planning 2 trips to Maryland. And hopefully I've been in talks with the kid who died, his dad. I've been talking to him. Hopefully he agrees to participate. He hasn't done it yet, but hopefully, but otherwise,
you have a little bit of time.
That's an interesting story, man. There's accidents happen.
Where did you find this?
Oh, I've known about this one for 2 years.
Okay.
So this is just
people don't
something
realize how easy it is to get electrocuted.
It is interesting.
Oh,
it is
man,
actually
you touch the wrong wire with the wrong stuff on, and you're just
so the guy had a daisy chain of extension cords going from upstairs to downstairs, and the breaker fucked up, and he tried to turn it on again, and it's smoke. He started seeing smoke hours later coming from his kitchen, and by that point everything was the whole fucking
so the
tunnel
kid was
system
down
was
there
he died
by himself.
Yeah, it's tragic. It's really tragic, and it's fucked up actually.
See, because that's the sort of thing where it's well, was it that guy's fault or not?
I think that it was his fault.
Really at fault there? Because he's the adult, so I guess it'd be on him.
I think it was his fault. He didn't give him a way to escape from that situation. He's paying this guy.
Yeah, so the kid was working on this bunker for him.
Yeah, there was no form of.
And he didn't have a proper exit. I mean, and that
I'm
could
sure
be
he didn't
just
have permits and stuff to dig out. I don't think it's.
He had no permits.
Dig,
he didn't have any permits.
Fallout shelter under your house.
No permits.
So the government once again, Jen.
Most people that just decide they're going to do this normally don't go by. They don't need things like permits. Why would they need
it has
those?
been an absolute delight talking to you. Every
Thank
time
you
we get
so
to talk,
much. Yeah,
I love Oki. I can't put Oki over enough. Oki's weird stories.
Honestly, I think this is.
We love Oki in this house.
I gotta say, I think this is my favorite podcast. I love coming on here. Yeah.
We love have you come on too. So it's when you come back from Maine, we'll be talking to you every single time you bust out one of these big bangers. I always want to talk to you. Every single time.
Jen, I hate to tell you this, Jen, but there's going to be a time when Oki's too big to hang with us.
No, it's not.
It's going to happen.
That's not true. He's not like that.
I don't think he's going to be Hollywood Oki, but he might be. He might turn into.
But you know what? I think he's.
I could see Oki doing it. I could see Oki making these documentaries for real.
I think he's going to do it. He
Touring
is going to do
festivals,
it.
Doing
he is, but here's
the
thing: he's not going to change because he's not like that.
Well,
he's a really humble guy. He's a really humble.
You guys
guy.
are making me feel very uncomfortable right now. I gotta say.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it's true though, Oki. I think there's nowhere to go but up for you. It's all success. You do fine work. You do great work.
Thank you.
Can't put him over enough. Everybody, every real word sicko should love everything Oki's up to.
I mean, look, I consider you guys friends, and and I love this podcast, and it's fun. It's fun to catch up with you guys on this, and I
know because I feel like you're always so busy. I don't really think I've talked to you that much.
I'm
since,
crazy
probably,
busy.
Yeah,
I know you. I don't think
bothered.
I've talked to you much after. I think after fake VidCon in October, I've only really talked
I didn't
to you
even
here
know
and there
that
because I know you've been so busy.
I think I messaged you. I was like, wait, are you dating Mudar? I didn't even know that.
That's been going on since then, and because you've been so busy, you had no idea because we used to get in calls and talk a whole bunch, but you've been so busy that it's just
I'm just stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Hollywood Okie. Too busy to hang out with his friends.
No, not in a Hollywood way, because I knew, because right after fake VidCon in October, less than a week later, he was already traveling to Vegas to go do the space convention.
Yeah.
He's literally been one thing after another, and I already knew that. And it's not because he's Hollywood; it's because he's actually working and he's busy. The Hollywood I don't know you is totally different than I'm working. You know what I mean?
Okie's probably too big for Hollywood. How about that? Okie could be bigger than Hollywood.
Okie is not going to be a Hollywood asshole.
Okie could end up being a brand like Ken Burns, where it's it's an Okie documentary.
Probably.
We got to see this new Okie.
Inshallah.
All right.
That'll happen.
That's a podcast. Everybody, we'll see everybody later. Like, subscribe, all that garbage. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.